This computer. Hey, what's up, everybody?
Yes.
Hey, Frank, how are you?
Welcome to the completely spontaneous introduction.
So spontaneous, nothing. We were not talking about anything before. We just decided to jump right in.
Yeah,
Um, cool. So, TAM day three. So we're gonna do. I want to answer some questions. I want to give you an opportunity to do a little bit of implementation on the framework. We'll also kind of review that framework on this call. And yeah, I think the order of it. I was thinking through how I want to do this. I think we'll go like it's hard to review all the stuff you taught on the Facebook side, but they have like the recordings for it because it's like, you know, it's like it's a lot. It's like, we can't really just there's not like a little like step-by-step thing. Do you think we should just go right to answering questions or should we do implementation first, Frank?
I can show some data to do a little
Yeah, let's
warm
do
up.
some data. Do a little warm up. Yeah.
Hey, that's what everyone. Hey, I hope we get some data today. I probably
Foreplay.
should come up with a cooler way to say that.
I
All
love
right,
data.
let's see. I'll I'll show my screen. This is kind of not surprising at the end of the day to me anyway, because I'm a big fan of blatantly obvious ad method. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right. So I've been running this ad for, I don't know, a month or something, actually longer than that, to get people to opt in to learn, basically to hear me tell them to send more emails and stuff. But I just say it over and over again in a way that sounds more interesting. And this is like a longer form ad, it's getting the curiosity of $4 billion hat, $277 million shoes. I look obviously like a professional. And then this weekend I did the unthinkable. It was like, maybe I'll write something new.
What?
I know. I mean, sometimes you just gotta flex, So it was Sunday. I wrote these ads for the same campaigns. So these are new. They haven't had as much spend behind them. But I just want to compare the cost per lead because it's all the same campaign, same audience and everything. So here's the ad that's now getting like way cheaper leads. So the blue one, cheap leads, other one, more expensive leads. And the blue one was this. All right. So once again, the two sentences, damn it, is three technically. This is three sentences for the win. Get this if you want to build a list and sell them stuff fast. It's free. The new way to use email versus the other one. Now, I don't think this is enough data, and nor do I think any of the stuff that I've shown you is enough to be like, hey, never write long copy or be creative and good at ads. It's more of a you might not have to. And in our current profoundly fragmented attention span world, especially on social media, which is an interruptive ad platform, sometimes short and to the point works real good. Case in point being these guys here. Good. That's what I wanted to show. Pretty cool.
Yeah, that's cool. That is cool. Thanks for showing that.
Let's chop the lead cost right in half there.
Yeah, you did. Nice. Yeah, and that's short copy. God, it's me. I always want to have like really I always want longer copy because I'm a long-winded bastard. But really,
there it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's working like unusually well to cold campaigns or to cold audiences. So these are people who don't know me, like email marketing, Amy Porterfield. I think I forgot what the other interest was. Let's see. Alleged Frank current interests, Amy Porterfield, and then classified advertising. Just tested a bunch of audiences, and that one tended to work. And when we go and find these new ones, dude, the cost per lead is damn near 75% less than the average was. It's crazy. Two sentences, well, three sentences. That extra sentence did it. I think it was the finger emoji that did it.
I think so. It must be it.
All right, so
nice.
Get my crap off the screen now. I think.
No, it's good.
Is it still there?
It's still there right now.
I'm gonna stop. Oh, there we go. It's a big red stop share button. Same one it's always been. Forever. Okay.
So we have a couple questions. Let's do this. Let's do a quick review. I'm gonna do it on that little framework thing I shared, and then we'll answer questions and we'll do implementation. And then we can always answer more questions at the end. So my quick review is just like this framework, which we've done. I mean, most of these, do you guys even need a review? You're in the chat. Do you want me to review this stuff, or you remember my little framework and just go right to answering questions? You vote. Say review, remember, yeah. Say like, if you want me to review, say review. If you want me to just, if you want to go right to Q&A, say Q&A. Let the people decide. Owen's the only person who's voted so far. Review, Q&A, shit. I need more votes.
It's a tie.
Yeah.
We'll do both.
Great. All right. I'll make it fast. All right. So look, super quick. We went over this already here. Just a reminder, right, of these sort of steps that we talked about with, as far as like when it comes to coming up with ad ideas, step 1, because we have the FAQ bridge thing from last week's call as well, or the call number 2, right? But really we're just looking at the value prop of the offer, the core demographic, the market's core desire, competitors, whether, ads library, Vital, things like that.
Are you sharing your screen, Stefan?
Oh, fuck. Yeah, I am. You guys can't see it?
Just a desktop.
Yeah. You can't see the, oh, I sure the wrong one. Oh, I did.
Why is the folder called goats and stuff? I mean, not there's anything, hey, you know what? Yeah, there was that
goats and stuff
folder. Yeah, that was unusual.
Oh, you know what? I wasn't gonna tell them about the goat thing. It was a different time in my life, Frank. Okay.
As long as it's consensual.
So landing page. You guys can see the right stuff now, yeah? All right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, value prop of the offer. Like I said, I was kind of going through this. Competitors, competitors offer value props, what the market is asking from answer to the public. Goats and acid. Ad idea, writing down hooks for ad ideas and then the ads themselves. And we looked at Alyssa Dillon as an example, and what her value prop was, who her demographic was. We looked at the core desires that they had. They went through and looked at competitors and what their competitors were, what the value props of those competitors were. We went to ads library to do that. And we also went to Vital, and we sort of wrote out, different kind of value props there. We looked at what the market was asking from answer to the public. We wrote out different ad idea hooks. And then we did an actual ad example here. And I have other case studies in this document, which you all have access to as well. And then on day 2, we were looking at, like, for example, if a hypothetical dog supplement offer, and we talked about this FAQ bridge strategy, which is basically where you go find out, like, related things, like the topic that your market's interested in and the questions they're asking around that. And then you use that as like the hook of your ad, and you sort of start to answer that question, but you bridge it to whatever your product or service is. So we talked about poop a lot on day 2, which was always, good. So for example, even if you sold like a dog joint supplement as an example, if you see that, people on Answer the Public are asking about, what does it mean when my dog's poop is, like sticky, or like, this is gross, like, I don't know, smelly or green or whatever it is. And then, like, you could literally be like, what does it mean? And the Facebook ad, right? We looked at Gundry, it was great. They do this really well. Like, what does it mean if your dog has green poop? Like, top vet answers, like, the 3 signs, 3 things you shouldn't ignore if your dog's poop is green. And it could be like, and you could go find, like, what is it? You can Google, like, what if my dog has green poop? And it's like, it could be this, or it could be your GI tract. Your GI tract sometimes gets like, is related to having sore joints. So if your dog's got low mobility and poor energy, it could be a sign of something else going on. Don't worry, I can tell you how to get your dog's mobility back, right? So it's like a weird sort of like roundabout circular logic way that you create a bridge to whatever your offer is, but you can basically answer all these topics of interest that your market has. And it's a really solid strategy. In addition to that, Frank basically taught you how to run Facebook ads. I don't know how you summarize, Frank, the stuff that you did. Do you want to try to summarize the stuff you went over like the first 2 classes? FAQs?
I would say it's number 1, be very obvious at first what you're selling and who you're selling to. As I don't think that the first foray to cold audiences is the time to be creative or cute or interesting or whatever, because you want that artificial intelligence and that machine learning. I think machine learning is the better term for it, to know who you're after based on their behavior. And so that's point number one. I really like that dog whistle 2-sentence framework. I mean, we just saw at the beginning that, damn it, I wrote a fancy ad and ran it forever, and then wrote a 3-sentence ad, deviated from the 2-sentence framework, and cut my lead costs by probably realistically 60%. So that methodology is pretty smart. That's thing number one. Thing number two is we will never know what the perfect Facebook audience is until you test a bunch of audiences. So the smart thing to do is get your really super obvious ad and then create a campaign where you're showing that same ad to a whole bunch of different audiences individually, within the context of how Facebook works, like within its own ad group or ad set. I get my Google Facebook terms mixed up. But do that at low budgets every day. I like to do it about $5 a day. And I'll test, depending on what I want to spend on my test budget, like 100 different audiences at a time, each one spending $5 a day, because I don't freaking know which one's going to work. Logically, the most money I would get would be from people who are allegedly interested in Frank Kern, but those are not my best performing audiences at all. So you test a bunch of them, and then you start to scale up the ones that work, turn off the ones that don't, and then get creative and cool in your retargeting. And that's the quick summary. And always measure the numbers, like obsessively measure the numbers.
Good recap. By the way, did you figure out how to change your screensaver? Because you look less pink now.
I did. I changed it.
Yeah.
I don't have the same background on each monitor, but at least they're gray, like ocean-y looking things.
That's good. That was a good summary. So cool. That means so let's take some time to answer questions now. And then for those who want to take a little time to implement, we can do that as like kind of the last part of this call. So Liz had the first question. She said, is it still effective to upload your buyers' emails to create a lookalike audience? Still 1%, or do you do 5% now? Still need a minimum of 1,000 leads. Have you ever tried segmenting lookalikes for opt-ins versus first-time buyers versus hottest LTV buyers?
Yes. And oddly enough, my high LTV buyers, which is a fancy way of saying like you take a bunch of people who spend a bunch of money with you, upload their data to Facebook, then create a lookalike audience, and Facebook will go out and find a lot of people just like them. I haven't had those be my best performing audiences. Right now, my best performing audience is a lookalike audience of people who have been to my site multiple times. It is outperforming my buyer value-based audiences. Yeah. So it's like, that's really a huge thing to take away from this. Is there all of the talk of this is the perfect way to do audiences is purely conjecture based on anecdotal evidence presented by the person giving the opinion. And that anecdotal evidence is gathered by very limited experience. Like even if you've run 100 different campaigns for 100 different people, each spending $1 million a month, is still not enough data to be able to say this is the perfect way to do it. So the only way that makes sense, in my opinion, which is, by the way, totally anecdotal, is to test a whole bunch of stuff at smaller budgets and then scale up the things that work. And then the ones that are working, sometimes they don't scale. And that's cool. You just keep on testing stuff till they do.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lower risk way to do it.
Love that. Okay, awesome. So Liz, hopefully that answered your question. Misty said, so Misty is unfortunately now in Facebook jail because she set up her lead forms, but she didn't know that leading them right to her site. And I should have been clear about this, but yeah, like she had like before and afters. She helps people. It's a cool, great product. It's not like a bullshit thing. I know Misty, it's like an amazing product for hair loss. But she had before and after photos on it and stuff like that. And it's probably talking about this like treatment for hair loss and stuff. And Facebook said, no, you're very naughty. You can't do that. So she's now, Missy like lost her account. And I know people who like will get it back for money basically, which I can always refer her to. Do you have anything broader you want to like say about that, Frank?
Yeah. So number one, you can just make another account. So as long as they didn't shut down your entire page, like your actual Facebook page, you can create another account. And it doesn't, at least in my, from what I understand, it doesn't violate their terms of service. I would Google it just to be sure or whatever, don't listen to anything I say. But it's not a big deal. You just make another account and start again. I've had it happen to me. You can also request a review, and they are less awful than they used to be. And if you have their old school app, hang on, let me find this thing. Let's see. I'm not promising not like randomly texting people trying to find this app. Let's see. It's not, no, damn it. I'm going to have to find it on my phone. It's not the current Business Suite one. It's the other one. It's the older Facebook Ads Manager app. Of course, I'm trying to do it. Oh, dude, okay. Open one random thing. It would help if I knew how to use mobile phones.
Yeah.
This is actually worth the hassle. Hang on. Ads Manager of all things. Okay, so let's see. It is
It's not Grinder. I see
The
Grinder.
one
That's
that-
not the one.
well, I mean, you want to use that whenever you can, but I think that people just aren't forthcoming. It's this one right here. And their pictures,
Yeah.
they're like, oh yeah, I'm 32. Yeah, no, you're not, Chad. So anyway, it's like download the old Ads Manager app, and you'll get notifications on there. Well, I'm not going to log in because I forgot the password, but like you'll see your little notifications about your account in this app. Okay, and respond to the notification that says you're a terrible person, we've killed your account, we hate you, and we really hope you die, because that's how they word it. Respond to that and say, would you please have a real person take a look at this? I've gone through your compliance material and I believe it to be compliant, and I think that the algorithm might have flagged this in error. And Kurt Molly at Black Box taught me this, by the way, years ago. And for whatever reason, when you do it through the mobile app, it generally gets to an actual human. And I have no idea why. But we've all had like really good luck with that technique of getting a real person to actually help you.
That honestly, that one alone, like for people who actually pay attention and or hear or watch the replay, that one could be worth like literally like 500 times what they paid for this thing, because like it's such a pain in the ass getting your account shut down and stuff like that, and like that's the dope. I've never heard that before.
It wouldn't. I didn't come up with it.
I know, whatever, you shared it, so now you seem smart.
Yeah, he says it cooler too. But dude, it's worked a lot, and it's literally like, would you please have a real person review that? Like, he has to be like, hey, you're wrong or anything. Basically, like, dude, I think it was a false flag. Would you please have someone, like a person, look at it? I think the machine learning made an error, and a real person will look at it.
It's dope. So Misty, try that to start. Also, yeah, look at it if it's like your whole like manager or the whole page, or is it just like a specific ad account? Because it might be that you can just create a new ad account.
Can I
Like,
speak?
yeah,
Are we
sure.
allowed to- Oh, okay.
Yeah. Go for it.
So I had like 12 ads. I was super hyped up and excited, and I was, I'm going to do all these ads, and I did every one of them. They were all approved at first, right? And so they ran for a day, and I actually got somebody who's going to come in and see me from that first review or the first launch, and then immediately they all got rejected within like 5 minutes. All of them came back to me. I did do the will you please review, I'm sorry, and then their response was forever and ever, you're done, we want, you're done. So I've heard a couple of people say make a new page. I think my problem is that like some of this stuff is just more advanced than my brain is at this point, and there are so many things I just don't know. Like I didn't know if it goes to where you see someone's hair and it's that they find it offensive, you're in trouble. So there's just like things around this that are little noodly things that if you don't know, and I'm almost wondering, like, is it better just to pay Frank's people to help me get out of jail with the Jumpstart campaign? And please, is that the way to go? Should I do that?
No, because we can't get you out of jail. So it's a very common misconception about what just happened. And that is that an actual person went and scrutinized the site and was like, I don't like this one bit. But hairstyle shouldn't matter. Like it's 99% chance that's an AI robot that flagged it, and then the human that did the review, if a human actually did the review, is 23, got shit to do, doesn't care, and just like following the procedure and cutting it off. We've run ads for like the weirdest stuff ever, like dental surgery and stuff. We're showing, like the grossest. I can't believe that A, they wanted us to run it, and B, that we were allowed to run it. But it was like really gnarly teeth and surgical stuff, like 4 dentists, like here's how to do like unbelievable torture on people. So my guess is you're probably okay. It's just one of those things. It happened to me in 2020. They totally killed one of my accounts. And I set up another one, ran it, turned on an ad. They killed it again. I was like, what the hell? Then I got a new domain, exact same everything, just a different web page, and no problem. So I would just set up a new Facebook account, not worry about it. Not a new page. It doesn't sound like your page is permanently banned, just your ad, your ad account.
You mean a new, like if my domain is cellustrious.com, do you mean actually creating cellustrioushair.com and forwarding? Is that what you mean?
I don't know if you have to go that far. Will you put the domain or the actual landing page in the, what do you call it there? How do they say in English for the kids these days? The chat is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, you don't want me to share a screen. You want me to put it in the chat? Okay.
Oh, share screen's cool. Yeah, that's even easier. I want to make it complicated.
Yeah.
Accepted.
Let me give you sharing
Groovy.
abilities.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's try this. So this is my site, and I just was on another meeting, and someone told me that I'm going to have to get a tier 1. It just becomes this thing where
I think you have to get a tier 1 desktop organizer, so I don't have anxiety every time I look at all the files on your desktop.
No, I know. Sorry, but this is my site, and what was told to me is that I'm making by somebody else in all these groups was like, you're making a promise of grow up to 50% more hair. I need to tell you, I've spent about $10,000 asking people to redo my sites. I was on WordPress. Everybody had me move over to Shopify. And this was what I was given as this is the best site. So I led people right to here. I actually led them to, and I'm sorry if this is redundant for the other people on here, but I don't.
You want to see the actual page you ran it to?
I ran it to, well, no, I'm sorry. Let me, I'd have to get back in there, but I think it was, here's what we did.
For the people watching, hopefully you don't, because I think it's good because it's like we're troubleshooting. I think it's valuable to troubleshoot what happens. Like I have accounts that are like banned and it's a huge pain. So hopefully for those of you watching.
This one could be, because to get up to 50% more in 3 months, that X
time frame,
X time thing.
Yeah.
Around a health related thing.
Yeah.
That could mess you up.
You know what? Now, of course, I'm on the hot seat, so of course I can't.
It has to be
perfect. There it is. It was this one. This is where I went.
Okay. Yes, the headline. That's just flagging it. Yeah. And so, first of all, I bet a person didn't look at it, but 50% in 3 months, their AI picked that up. It's like, nope, no can do.
Okay, so can I just ask you a general question? Because like I'm on all these classes, taking all these classes, and people are like, yeah, for direct response, you got to give them a promise. You got to give a benefit and a solution, a benefit and a solution. So this whole site is based on that whole benefit solution. And now I'm like, what do I do?
I think you're good though. I think the thing is just like, it's just nuance is the pain in the ass. With Facebook especially, there's this nuance, right? So you can still say like, like helps to grow up to 50% more hair. It's like the 3 months is what's screwing you up, right?
The time.
Yeah. Like, so saying like, basically like help, I don't know, whatever, like basically like the other copy on here doesn't look like it doesn't like glaringly like egregious or anything like that. And with Facebook, you basically just have to neuter the shit out of everything. But it's still worth it. That's the thing with Facebook, right? Because like the way I always describe Facebook is like it's like a money faucet, because when you can't actually run on Facebook, it's like you turn the faucet on and money just pours out. So it also gets clogged because of compliance and all that kind of stuff. But like when the faucet's clean, it's like there's no better faucet in the world. So it's a bit of a different game with Facebook as far as compliance goes and playing and stuff like that. But your page doesn't look like it's not some horrible, egregious page. It's just like, and I know your products are great. You have all kinds of amazing testimonials and a great story and all that. It's just like, I think it's just the time claim. Frank, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, imagine you're a robot that's programmed to look for bad things, and you see the word grow, and then 50%, and then in 3 months, and then drug free. And I'm just looking at it above the fold, and then and then we have surgery, drugs, hormones, and then if we scroll down on there, so like all of these are words, that their AI is gonna just pick up and be like, oh my gosh, then we have injections. Okay, great. And then results, with befores and afters. I'll tell you, I wouldn't change this damn thing. What I would do is be like, okay, Facebook, I would run lead form ads in there, and my ad copy would say something like, read this if you want to grow more hair, or read this, or for people who want to reverse balding, or whatever. I would avoid like if you're going bald or whatever, just to be extra careful. And then your email sends them like a series of 900 million emails to this page. So Facebook's not going to pick up on that. They won't go that far deep.
So Frank, if I just want to make sure I'm clear on what you're saying, you would still run the lead form as it is in Facebook, and then when it says like your goal conversions, instead of taking them to my website, would I just say, give me your email and not take them anywhere else? That's where I get lost in the Facebook world.
Yes. So I'll show you one.
Great.
Let's see.
Stop sharing.
How do you use the Zoom? Do I look like I know what a JPEG is? Okay. Let's see here. Right, y'all. Okay. So this is one that's been working pretty good. So come over here when you're making the campaign, and you say, Facebook, I want you to get me some leads, damn it. And you hit continue. And of course, like everyone else is going to have a different Facebook manager look than mine. So we'll love to change it whenever we teach something live, but it'll look something like this. And what we're looking for here is scroll down, okay. And now we're at the ad set level and instant forms. So this means they're filling out the form on the Facebook. All right. So then we put the ad up, and like picture, copy, etc. And Facebook is going to have you build a form, right? So you can see I've got like all of these different ones and stuff. So I'll come over here, wait until the year 2 million. So even if thing to show there. All right, how about this one? They've been so weird lately. What was wrong with these people? Good at all. Oh, duh. Okay, good Lord. Sorry. This is what the form looks like. So let me see one that I can not be afraid of messing up. So they click your ad. They see this thing. All right. All this is fine. All this is fine. This one, this link right here, send it to some sort of profoundly generic website with like maybe a video of you or something that's talking about, how you help people and how they should check their email and what they can expect to learn and why they should go check their email, and that's it. And do so. By the way, this doesn't have to say view website. This can say done. So not many of them will even click it if you make this text right here say done. Then you just follow up with them by email and send them to wherever the hell else you want to send them. And Facebook's not going to they're not going to go that far down into your funnel to see what you're doing.
So it'll say, thanks, you're all set. Am I going to lead them, say, like to my YouTube channel and a video maybe I've already done about hair loss? Is that that's where I get lost, is this part right here.
So what you can do is, see, let me edit this thing. Of course they won't. Okay. So I'll duplicate it. There we go. All right. So we built this thing out, so we can make this say whatever we want it to say, right? So I can put an image here. I can change the headline of the form. So new, how to stop hair loss or how to grow, whatever, the all natural solution to hair loss, whatever you want to say, here. And then right here is where we can ask them for their name and email address, other stuff if you want, maybe phone number. All right. And then right here, you have to have a link to your policy, your privacy policy, which is, standard issue. And then we get to the end. So at the end, you can make them say whatever, you have to say whatever you want it to say right here. And what's really cool is on the button itself, we can have this text simply say done. All right. And we can have this just say, thanks, you're all set. Check your email for the stuff that you want. All right. And the link that you would put here, now not many people are even going to click it, but the link that you would put here would be, whatever, a differentdomain.com. And it would just have some very, very bland no before and after content on there. And you do that knowing that not very many people are actually going to click on this button and go to that domain anyway. They're going to go check their email. So that's a workaround, so you don't have to redo your entire site, which in my opinion looks fine, assuming all of the claims are true, and you would get cheap leads from the Facebook.
Just one last question on that link. Because I use Go High Level, would you recommend that I just have build out like a little cheesy funnel in Go High Level that has a video in it and lead them to that?
I would build like whatever's fastest, knowing that maybe 2 out of 100 leads are actually going to click this.
Okay.
Yeah, they just don't, especially if you don't tell them to, because it just looks like it's done, so like you can tell them to do whatever. So we can say, click the damn link, and then I should probably, there we go. Then they would click it. But if you don't tell them to click it and you make it say done, they're probably not going to go. So the whole thing we're doing here really is just circumventing Facebook's machine learning from going and looking at that other website and having their robot go, oh my God, it said growth, 50%. Injections, drugs, before, after, they're selling something funky. We're scared. We're going to turn it on. So,
thank you.
You're welcome. It's a good question, by the way.
That was a good question. That was a good answer. And a few follow-ups. Listed said, would you end the leads campaign to go to view website, to a testimonial page for social proof? I mean, that could be a good place, but you probably want to be careful. Well, I don't know, Frank. I guess I'll let you answer that actually.
For her thing, I wouldn't.
Right, because of the before and afters and not wanting to piss Facebook off, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Or freak them out.
I would put maybe if there's some testimonials about the information you're going to receive. This has been incredibly helpful. I've never felt more confident before, etc. Something really bland, but. Really, I would just send them to a page with an article on it or just a generic awful page. You know what I mean? Because most people aren't going to click that button due to the way that it's set up. We're not telling them to, and it says done here. We're telling them to go check their email, which is what we would put here. So that's where I would say go check your email and stuff. Right. So there very few people actually do it. So I wouldn't overthink that stuff too much. And of the people who would click on this thing, let's say that there were no issues with Facebook's machine learning thinking that you're some person selling snake oil or whatever, and you could send them to the hardest core, greatest direct response page ever. The majority of people that go there aren't going to immediately buy anyway, so it doesn't matter. I mean, it's really all about getting that lead and following up with them.
Yeah. Cool. That makes sense. And then, yeah, because Sean asked for the lead form ad. Can you give them the PDF right away?
No, it has to be emailed. Now, if you want, this could go to your website, and on the website, there could be a link to download the PDF, but clicking this can't open a PDF. It has to go to a web page.
Cool. Gotcha.
And the web page could, good Lord, I can't even think of this. The web page could literally be a web page that says, thank you so much. Please go check your email. Here's what you're going to learn. Yeah, it doesn't even have to. Yeah, we're just trying to get them to read the damn email.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That's super, super good. All right, nice. Bill said, how much time does it take to warm up those campaigns, if any? If that's a dumb, obvious question, I've revealed my ignorance.
Well, man, we all start somewhere, and I ain't got enough sense to get out of the rain half the time. So not long. Like once you build one, here I'll show you how I do it. All right, so we build our ad and everything, and which is just choose a picture, write some stuff, and then you're off to the races. So the one that I built during the class, I'm teaching this done very well. I built it on the 27th of June. And through today, here are the numbers for that one. And I don't give a PDF away in this one. I have no idea why I say PDF demo. I just like to confuse myself, But it's done pretty good. I spent whatever 10 and got back 17. So I'll take it, especially because I have these 1,700 leads, and that's very, very important. So you build the new campaign, and you start with one ad set, and you just choose an audience, right? So I'll just be like, okay, this is going to be the new ad set, and I'm going to choose marketing. Because remember earlier, I was like, dude, we don't know what the perfect audience is going to be. It's just impossible. So you come down here and you're like, okay, I'm going to say you choose whatever budget. Usually when I do these, I'll start with like $5 a day, and I'll put in 20 to 100 of these audiences in one campaign. So I'm spending, if I choose 20, I'm spending $100 a day. And I know that of those 20 audiences, probably 17 are going to be terrible, and 3 are going to be pretty good, but I'll know that data in like 3 days. So my risk is very minimized. So anyway, I'd be like, all right, let's find people who like marketing, okay? And then I make that. All right, and then, damn it. There we go. Okay. Would you please stay there? Trying to look like I know what I'm doing. There. Good God. Okay. So now we've got this. All right. So once you make one, so you've done it one time. I just come over here and I hit the duplicate button. Bing. And all I'm going to do is come over here and let Facebook do the work for me and be like, I don't know who the hell to target. Facebook, who do you think I should target? I'll be like, we don't know. How about digital marketing? So I'll be like, okay. So then I'll just delete marketing. Now I got another one that targets digital marketing. I just changed the name of it to digital marketing so I know, who I'm targeting at a glance. And you do that as many times as you want, depending on your test budget. It's tedious, but just copy and paste and change the names and stuff. It's worth doing. I don't know if I'm just, awesome, break anything. And so as you can see, that's how I did this. I just copy and pasted and randomly chose these dang audiences based on Facebook suggestions. And was like, let's see which ones work. And, some of them did, and I kept those going, and some of them didn't, and I turned them off. That's it.
Nice. And then Sean asked, when you scale, you just did this and I missed it because there's I'm a noob in some ways. I don't run my ads. I want to more, but when you scale, should you scale the original test ad set, or do you duplicate? I know you duplicate when stuff's working. I know, but in general, are you also scaling the original test ad set, or?
Yeah, there are 2 things that I'll do. so number one, like everyone will get obsessed with cost per lead,
Right.
and so that's worth consideration. But what you really want to do is look at, let's say a 14-day chunk of time and be like, did this make money or not? And if it made money, keep doing it. So what I like to do is just create automations generally, like with these little things. I didn't do it for whatever reason here. I don't know why that was done. But let's do it now. So you can come in here. I'll select all of these. Grab all these ad sets. If you come and click on rules for this, and say create a new rule. Next. And there are tools that can do this for you as well. One is called Magics, which is pretty good. And I can say, okay, I want you to increase the daily budget by 5%. All right. And I don't want you to go out over $100 a day on any of these ads, just in case, then now we can start messing around by setting these conditions. So I can be like, okay, if my cost per result, in this case, my cost per lead is less than, $1, then go for it. All right. Or sometimes if they don't want us to look stupid, we'd say if website purchase ROAS is greater than break even or whatever, and say, okay, over the past 14 days, because these are lead gen campaigns, so it depends on whatever your metrics are. Okay, so if the damn thing's making money over the last 14 days, then I want you to raise the budget on each one of these ad sets. They're actually making money by 5% every 12 hours, which means you'd be raising your spend by 10% per day. And then you can just hit create and that sucker will run. So the danger to that is getting bad data in your tracking. That's why I prefer tools like Magics to do it, which they don't pay me to endorse them or anything. It's a pretty solid tool. They can track your return on ad spend better. So the numbers that you're seeing here in Facebook for my return on ad spend for this stuff is not real. It's actually better. But Facebook's not tracking it properly, but other tools can. So you can run the same automations with other tools. So that's one way that I'll scale, which is, I'll have all these budgets and I'll make another rule. What you do it here, same thing, right? We create a new one. I'd be like, okay, stop if bad. All right, and then turn these off, and that's like if my lead cost is greater than $8 over the past 3 days, including today, so I give it a little bit of time or whatever. I want you to turn that sucker off. And I just create. No, kill it. We do the same thing with decrease the budgets. Right. So if my lead costs, I forgot to put $8 in there, whatever. So I can also say, all right, maybe I just want to send a little signal to Facebook. And if my lead cost is over, let's say $7, let's say, I don't care for it too much. Like, okay, I want to decrease that budget by 5% twice a day. If my lead cost is over $7. And sometimes when you decrease the budget like that, well, not sometimes, all the time, it sends a signal to their machine learning that says, hey, we don't like this, man. Like, do something. And a lot of times the act of doing that will make the damn thing perform better. But I don't have enough sense to do much. So that's why I'm just telling computers to do it for me. So that's one way that I scale. Another way that I scale is over time, I can look at these and I can be like, all right, let's take these guys right here. I'm going to put all of these into a CBO, campaign budget optimization campaign. So I literally just click duplicate, new campaign, CBO. All right. And now I'm going to give Facebook all the control. And so I'll say, okay, Facebook, I'm just going to come right over here. I'm going to turn this on. And instead of having the budget controlled per audience, now I'm taking all of my good audiences. I'm like, Facebook, you just go and you figure out which ones are going to be the best. And I would set that whole campaign up at like $100 a day or whatever. And I'd hit go. And now instead of spending X amount per day per audience here, it might spend 80 of those dollars on Brendan because I'm getting a good lead cost from Brendan and, you know, minimal amount on these guys. And usually when you do that, three things are going to happen. Number one, it's immediately going to work. It's rare that happens. Number two, it sucks for about 3 days and then it gets good. Or number three, it just doesn't work. And sometimes, you know, it doesn't. You know, you scrap it, you scale another way. But those are usually the two methods that I do.
Nice.
Yeah, because you'll take what works and do more of it, Trick.
Sounds crazy. It's too
I know.
much. You're wild.
Right, if they were diet and exercise, far-fetched. You know what I mean? Can't be right.
Yeah, you are gonna get recordings. I was like, hey, Ben Marcoux, are you on? I know you're on. Are you like present? If you are, say yeah.
Yes,
Hey Ben, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. You're like a pretty sophisticated media buyer. So I was just curious. So you didn't get a lot of value from watching Frank? Because I watch Frank do this, and I'm like, I want to do it, but I'm also like, man, you know, some of it, like I have to watch the replay for some of this stuff. But I was curious for you as a pretty accomplished media buyer, how have you been enjoying, you know, the ads madness? You can be honest. You can say like, oh yeah, like I'm not having a good time. Yeah, you can be honest. Frank's pretty tough. He'll cry later. He'll cut himself later. But
No, I
Yeah.
dig it. It's a great approach. It's I think especially if you're starting out at lower budgets and you're trying to do something more like on the personal brand side or smaller brand side, this is a really like low risk way for you to test a whole bunch of stuff and start to get some data about things that are working, and yeah, really lower the risk and give yourself a better than average chance of it working. Plus the trick about trying to like evade Facebook, though not maliciously, I think is really worthwhile, and something a lot of people should consider is like is it worth, I guess, doing a bit of analysis, right? Like, is it worth neutering the offer and then trying to deal with the compliance bots that are just like, I call them the crazy Spanish ex-girlfriend, like they're just not reasonable. So yeah, and then, or is it worth it to kind of reevaluate your model, right? And see like, okay, this is a pretty cool way for me to do something that obviously works. Send a bunch of emails, send it somewhere safe, get really cheap leads, work with the algorithm instead of against it. So I think it's really clever.
nice. That was a great nuanced reply, Ben. I appreciate that.
It's so much funner when you do it with big budgets, but man, it could be like teaching it. Oh my God, people get so scared. They're like, you
Yeah, and what's
spend
actually
$200 a day? Like, yeah, it could be all right, maybe.
And
It's so
fun
funny,
fact, I
too.
don't want anyone to go out and do anything too crazy, but we're running one campaign now that's at pretty serious scale, about $30,000 a day on Facebook and quite a bit more than that on Google. And the setup that Frank just lined up with putting the interests with the same ads and all of them with the multiple different audiences that are working is actually one of the campaigns that's currently spending about $20,000 a day with that type of setup. So it's very scalable when the offer allows for it.
Can be pretty good. Especially
Yeah, it's
if you
pretty
got a
cool
good
checking those.
follow-up.
Yeah, I like checking those stats. It's fun. Anyway, thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. I just saw Ben. I've known Ben for years. I love him. He's a super smart guy. Great human being. So I was like, let me bring Ben on for a minute.
I'm just thinking Sky Miles. Like, imagine you're spending like 30 G's a day on ads. You know, you're putting that on Amex or whatever. Those points, dude. Like,
Dude, I just talked today for one of the CA Labs things that we're doing, like the performance equity side, and one of the clients, they're doing lead gen and like healthcare, Medicare, and solar. They're spending like 200,000 a day, like between YouTube and Facebook. But yeah, going back to those Amex points, so like, you know, that guy's not paying for flights. You know, that guy's paid for flights in a long time. Problem is you spend that. I don't know how profitable they are, but if you're doing this kind of numbers, maybe you aren't flying commercial anyway. Sean had asked, you know, do you have an opinion on using a traffic campaign to the sales page as a show of interest and then a retargeting conversion campaign. I'm using it and it's working, but then I realized that it's retargeting my entire Facebook pixel, which was largely built on my conversion campaigns. So I can't tell if it's actually working.
Well, you can tell it to only retarget people that visited a certain page. So if we want to go to audience builder, I don't know if this account's going to be able to do it well because I only use it primarily for these lead formats. But, and dude, you probably already know how to do this. Of course, ads managers being the knucklehead today. We can say, all right, I only want to retarget people who have gone to, there we go, specific web pages, like whatever, dammit.com/Facebook to hell. And so that's one way you could do it, to just only retarget those people. And this is certainly worth a test. I rarely have good luck with traffic objective stuff unless I'm retargeting a very hot audience, meaning like multi-clickers or 7-day people or whatever. But then there's some people, man, that, this is why like all of us Facebook experts, we don't know what the hell we're talking about. All we can do is say, hey, this has worked a lot and you should test it. Because there's some people that'll send traffic only ads and just totally crush with it, especially in the e-com space. So it's bizarre. Then a lot of people will start out, if they've never had conversions, they've got an unseasoned pixel, then they'll optimize for add to cart or whatever. I've never had good luck doing that stuff. But again, I've only tested probably a couple grand and spend messing with it because, once you find something that works for you, you just keep doing it over and over again.
That was on mute. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So I know Michael had asked about examples of good retargeting ads and copy for like with a supplement type of offer. I mean, to be honest with you, from my experience on the supplement side, and I have a pretty good amount of experience there. The best retargeting I usually see there is actually it's like UGC stuff, like so user generated content. It's like people, like talking about like the products, because at that point the cat, depending on when they've seen it, but typically if they've on the retargeting, even if it's like longer form stuff, right? Like on the retargeting, you're being more direct with like, hey, buy the product, right? And so it's usually like UGC, people talking about their experience and like sort of like how great it was and how much they love the product and stuff like that. So I don't have specific retargeting examples available, but like, yeah, generally like it's like really, I would go UGC heavy on the supplement side. And then Frank, I'm guessing you don't run a lot of like Nutra stuff, but if you have anything you want to add on the retargeting thing.
I'll just show you ours. Great campaign or account name here, by the way, just pointing that creativity out. So we'll retarget. I remember like the first day or whatever, someone says, hey, do you do any retargeting for your 4-course thing? I'm like, no, and totally we do. And I don't know what the hell I was talking about. But our 4-course front end primarily is that awful video with 2 sentences, so I'm going here to, where are we? These are the ones that are working right now. Is this all this running? I guess so. All right, cool. So this one, and primarily this is the stuff that's bringing home the bacon, and these are cold audiences. So these are good lookalikes, this is interesting, by the way, just to make note of, that these weird ones, like this weird one right here, infrequent gold value customers worldwide versus like my buyers, my buyer pixel data at the top 1% and specific product buyers. These guys have been better and more profitable. So like go figure. Like that one's a tiny bit better, so I might give a little bit more love into that. So anyway, I'm using the dog whistle stuff. And I'm telling Facebook to get me good people. I test on the front end, like cold traffic, 2 different types of campaigns typically. I'll test one with a max conversion objective. So what that means is right here. I've got this set for, this always says this for me, by the way. I have no idea why. Don't care. So you're always going to see stupid shit like this, like just keep going or else you'll drive yourself crazy. So this is me telling Facebook, hey, just get me customers. I'll also test campaigns where I'm like, hey, instead of just get me customers who spend money. All right. And that's the value here. And you just literally pick it from a drop down menu. And dude, sometimes like one works better than the other, and there's no set rule. Like, should I do it for value or a whole bunch of conversions? Like, I don't know. You got to see which one, how the Facebook gods are feeling during that period of time. But in this particular case, this ad is being shown to a whole bunch of people. And now I've got these ads, for example, that are retargeting, and it's all images. There's no video. And it's like just showing the stuff. So I would do, for retargeting for anything, I would utilize cheaper CPM type of stuff. So a video here for a retargeting campaign is going to cost me more per 1,000 views than a picture. I can still say a lot with a picture. I can say more with a picture than I can with video. And I would also, and we're not even talking about the copy itself, but I would also use things like the traffic objective and the reach objective. And if you're tracking stuff right, like you can actually, retarget people who have added to cart, for example, and haven't purchased, and those people are so hot because they saw your ad, they clicked on it and started to order and they didn't. You might have like a better return on ad spend by saying, hey, just show this ad to as many of those people as you can. I don't care what the hell they do. And that way, you're going to open up the floodgates. And this number right here, this number kind of dictates a lot. Where are we? This will be lower, So that when you do that type of objective. So it's, I know it's not a direct answer to the question because there's really no magical, like, here's exactly what to say, but I would use every little thing that you can to hit that retargeting audience.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, and then because Ethan said you have a basic script you follow for retargeting videos, but it really just depends. It's so broad because there's so many ways you can retarget somebody that it's like not. It's hard to have like a template. Now if you're doing UGC stuff, like as an example, it's like maybe like like outcome with the product, why you're happy you bought the product, where you were before you bought the product, what your number one objection to the product or before buying, back to like the outcome and why you're so happy, encourage other people to like get it too, right? That's sort of like a good UGC sort of. And so you could give that prompt to somebody like, all right, so explain why you're so happy today, where were you before, what was your big objection, why did you buy anyway, are you happy you did, restate like your kind of outcome today, right? But if it was like a totally different type of ad, like on video for like retargeting though, like it's really generally like, again, I'm mostly UGC, and then for the image type stuff, I mean, Frank, you just shared some things there. I'm not sure if you're pulling up more good stuff, but I'm happy to.
Yeah, I'll show you like just what I mean by multiple campaign objectives. So these are campaigns for Evergreen Email Machine, which is an on-demand webinar, and I've had really good luck with this. So again, like all of this stuff I'm showing you, man, you really have to track like a mofo. Facebook's tracking data is not accurate in this case. It drives me nuts. One platform I like a lot, it's missed a couple sales, but it could be operator error, is one called anytrack.io. Hyros is good too, but you really need to know your data. So what I know for sure is that these lead gen campaigns, and these are campaigns that are just sending people, and this is the same formal ad I've been running, they're just sending people straight to a web page. And for me, I'm always going really simple on my sales pages. So I've tried to be fancy, but like this works better for me than cool looking shit. I would much rather have cool looking stuff. Really, like honestly, I'm like, man, if only it converted, But nonetheless, we know all of that, right? And so like these are profitable. What I've started to set up now is exactly what I was telling you. So now I've got my retargeting. That's what RT stands for. And in retargeting, I'm taking people in various countries. This is a CBO campaign where I'm telling Facebook, hey, dude, you just do what you want to do, man. You do you know. And so I've got it. All right, here's a group that's all women, and these are people that stands for retargeting, Big Four, and Western Europe men. Same thing, Big Four meaning United States, Australia, Canada, and United Kingdom. Big Four English-speaking countries, and then Western Europe. So I split it by gender, and then these are older ones between 29 and 180 days old. So it's excluding these guys, split it by gender. For whatever reason, Facebook's giving these guys the most action right now. I don't care. I'm paying $1.14 for me. I'm stoked, you know, assuming they buy. But notice, I'm taking that same audience, all right, and I'm also, same ads, by the way, but instead of saying, hey, get me a lead, I'm now going to Facebook and I'm saying, get me somebody, same audience again, get me somebody to message me. And now when my messenger bot will then send them the link to go register for the webinar. And the things you got to understand is with Facebook audiences, pull this off screen so God forbid I don't accidentally show.
Misty, look at Frank's desktop background. Look at your desktop background. I'm just saying. Like Frank's is like a calming ocean. I'm not throwing shade, Miss. I'm just saying. Like I want to encourage you to consider.
Ah, that's great. Okay.
He hating.
I am hating. That's just I guess to get an
Why
opportunity.
are you hating?
I don't know because I love Misty. That's why. All right.
Oh, cool. I already erased all the crap off here. Right. So like if this is our audience, you know, and then let's say this is your retargeting audience. If you run a conversion campaign and say, hey, get me customers from here, it's going to like hit this portion of them. And you can duplicate that campaign and it'll start hitting other portions of them too. But if you say, all right, get me traffic, then it's going to hit like this portion of the audience. If you say, get me messenger people, it's going to hit this portion of the audience. So that's why it makes a lot of sense to use multiple ad objectives in the campaign settings, you know, and that I focus on that more than the ad copy itself, assuming I got one that's working. You know, that's why I've been running that stupid four course thing for a year now without having changed it up until like a week ago. I hope that made sense. I was using terms like objective and things. You know, it sounds very drawn out.
No, I think it makes sense to me. That's good. Going back through these questions here. Okay, well, that's good. Bill Hershey asked. He's like, if you can just get a ROAS with a Facebook ad by selling something inexpensive, i.e., the $4 offer, is there any reason to go back and spend money on Facebook ads that only collect emails and don't generate ROAS, like an instant ROAS? But I think I want to answer all of these, but Frank, you answer. Go ahead.
Well, this is one of the things that makes me a very bad salesperson when I'm trying to convince people to buy courses on ads or anything really. Doesn't matter what business we say we're in. We're in the capital multiplication business. We take $1 and we put it in and we get more than $1 back, period. And if I can run a lead gen campaign and it's going to turn a profit for me within an acceptable amount of time, that equals more profit. You know, so it's like, why not do all of it? And so that's why I do all of it. Now, I don't like running campaigns where, you know, it's going to take me 60 days to break even or something like that. And then, you know, I'm going to turn a profit after 6 months or something. And that kind of thing makes me uncomfortable. But if you know your numbers and you're at profitability in an acceptable period of time, then you're gold. Do it all.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say too. You can have it all. Let's see here. I mean, Owen asked some questions, but it was kind of around like an entire sort of digital product funnel, like how to build the, like maximize the funnel and metrics. But I feel like, Owen, that's a little bit outside the scope of like the ad stuff. So may come back to that, but I'm trying to keep the questions kind of relevant to like, you know, specific stuff around ads and things like that. So Malcolm had said, you know, Frank, so you split test interaction channel after confirming messaging.
And audience.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I won't go split test a new interaction channel very often, like without knowing that the audience works on the hardest one first. So I always lead with get me conversions. Like show this ad to total strangers and get them to do something. And then if that's profitable, then I'll start, you know, scaling that. But I like to do the more creative testing stuff with retargeting.
Cool. Perfect.
Yeah, I think we don't really give retargeting enough attention. I know I don't, so I might be projecting on other people, you know, but it's like there's so much money in it. And usually a retargeting campaign is okay, I show another conversion ad to this group of people. It's like, no, there's a whole lot more money there. You know, show a traffic ad, show a reach ad, your hottest people, show a messenger ad, show a lead form ad. Like it's worth doing. That's probably going to be outside of emailing your database a lot, is going to be your most profitable channel, period.
Yeah. As I said, the margins are like so high on that.
Yeah.
So you split test interaction channel after you've proven conversion for given messaging to a given audience. That's what Malcolm's asking for clarification.
All right, that sounded
I know
so
you
smart that I got
you read
confused.
it. Yeah, you read it.
Oh, I guess I could. Yeah. Wow.
You tell
All
me.
right.
I don't mind reading them, but I want to make sure I get.
Of course, I put the controls right over the comments.
Of course.
Yeah. So let's see here. So you split test interaction channel after you've proven conversion for given messaging to a given audience. Is that the one we just answered? I generally split test interaction channel and retargeting only. So if I'm going to get good results from a cold audience, like here, let's see. I spent a gazillion years rebuilding stuff yesterday, and now I forgot what I did. You ever do that? You like tons of stuff in one day, and you're like, "What the hell? I did so much. I don't remember what any of it is."
Definitely.
But like, this is working really, really well. So I'm just going to scale this guy up right here. Tested a whole bunch of other stuff, you know, in the past 7 days as well, and it did okay. But this one is the best. And it's giving me a lot of volume, it's giving me a lot of customers, it's building my list. So now what I'm doing is I'm slicing and dicing this retargeting offer at 7 or however many different ways, 1, 2, 3, 4 different ways there. And so I'll do that, and I'll just go longer on these audiences. Like for example, this one, I should say copy. Yeah, like so this one was working well. And I just duplicated it within this ad set, same audience. I'm like, shit, that thing's working. I'm going to copy this whole thing over into the same campaign, because when you do that, you know, that's a huge audience. Facebook has been looking here. I'm like, all right, I'm duplicating it. Look over here and see what you can find. And I'm just going to keep building retargeting audiences by doing that, and then slice and dice the retargeting audiences. And, you know, that's not the only way to do it. But for me, I only have a limited brain capacity, so you know I can't be doing too many different things at one time.
Perfect. Oh, we got another one. Michael said, when testing audiences, do you turn on expanded reach where Facebook will find like people, or only when you find audiences that are working?
You don't have the option so much anymore, so I try not to do it. So there's this thing. Yeah, so Ben says it's always on now, and I think he's right. So like, let's say you say, all right, man, show my ad to everyone who likes Gary Vaynerchuk. Now Facebook, depending on the ad objective, if it's a conversion ad, it'll do this. I think it won't still if it's a lead form ad. But if you're trying to get any sort of conversion, like a sale or an opt-in to your webpage, Facebook's going to be like, we reserve the right to show this to other people that are not who you told us to show it to. And what are you going to do? Yeah, but I haven't seen it matter, so I don't really care.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. So Any other questions? I mean, we didn't really go into implementation, but I feel like answering questions is probably more valuable anyway. Unless somebody's sitting here like, I really want to implement and I hate you guys, and you told me we'd implement, we haven't implemented. But I feel like this is probably better because we're getting Frank's brain. This is great for me. It's my easiest call to literally sit here and tell Frank questions, and I just sit and like watch.
Well, if anyone's got like a funnel they're running traffic to and it's not performing like you want it to, or whatever, sales process that might seem broken, like that's always very helpful, not only to the person that we try to fix it for, but also watching, because it reinforces the fact that it's usually like one little thing in the sales process and not the entire business that is broken. So if anyone's got something that you troubleshot,
I like that. Anyone want to troubleshoot something? Anyone want to be troubleshooted?
Liz asked, does what you post in the newsfeed affect the algorithm of your Facebook ads? To a degree, yeah, your account quality does. So if you go, now again, especially because we're live on camera, you go to your Facebook page, I'm probably not going to be able to find this because we're live. But there's page quality or something. Let's see. If this is low, it can cause you to get less love. And of course, I can't remember. Oh, but hey, look at there. Page quality. So we're good. If this is bad, then it's going to hurt your ads. So here you go.
Gotcha.
That's pretty fast and underwhelming.
Sean said, I have a sales page for my Facebook ad. If you want to take a look at it. Sure, Sean. Let's let you come on. I'll give you a co-host key. You can kind of share it. You want to unmute yourself and come hang out?
Dude, I'm going to answer Ben's question real quick. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah,
sorry,
answer Ben's. That's fine. You answer Ben's, and then we'll do Sean's after that.
All right, cool. So Ben says, if you've got a big offer that's been pushed to Facebook for years to the same audience hard, having tested over 70 different ads, how do you create new winning ads to grow even more? All right, so big offer. I'm going to assume that the audience is also big. So I'm not sure if I would create a lot of new ads. I would instead test duplicating ad sets and duplicating campaigns to try to get their algorithm to start reaching into other pockets of the damn audience. And I would also try duplicating winning ads within those ad sets. Because when you do, it'll start showing at the different pockets of the audience. That's how I would do it for sure. And then of course, dynamic, like I would take your best ones. I put, a million people's not that big. Dude, you got to find another audience. So I still keep hitting them, but if it's only 1 million people, there's only so far you can go. So at this stage, like 1 million people, dude, okay. Yeah, you can totally saturate an audience like that. So I would be running video views ads to them. I'd be running traffic ads to them. I'd be measuring the ROAS for everything over like a 30-day period if you've got the text to it. I'd be running traffic ads to them. I'd be running reach ads to like the perfect segment of the demographic, so that you know that your customer is between like 59 and 62. I would target down to that narrow, of a thing, but I would only run reach because a conversion ad would be super expensive CPM on that. So I'd start getting creative with your objectives in the campaigns too.
Perfect.
All right, Sean Cartwright.
Yeah, Sean, see you. We can come back to other questions after. All right, Sean, will give us a little background and
yeah, I can give you the link here. Yeah, so what we're doing is selling an entry-level product for Tai Chi. And so what it is, it's a DVD I produced many years, book funnel, but copywriter yet. So I basically kind of modeled the 4-book offer that Frank had for this. And so it works. Like, we have a positive ROAS, but it only works for like a couple of specific audiences. So, and the headline on this ad is exactly the same as the headline in Facebook. So I was just wondering if anybody had any suggestions, because I feel like it could be better than it's doing, because there are other audiences that this sort of information should appeal to. But if it's not like a highly selected audience, it doesn't work. So basically I would say is probably converting on people who are like solution aware, they know
Right.
about type and want to learn it, but not anyone else at this point.
How many audiences have you tested?
Probably 20, 25 audiences.
And have you given them like, have you done the thing, where you're spending X amount of dollars? How much is this thing, by the way? $29. So this is hard to stomach, by the way. I'd spend $60 before determining one was bad. So if you spent $60 without getting a sale, and I would do it like per day, I'd stretch it out. So $5 a day per audience or whatever, but I'd let that sucker run a little bit before you determine it was bad.
That's good. I was doing that like the $20 thing, because and then killing the audience if it didn't work.
I don't know why, dude. I mean, this is purely anecdotal, so I'm one guy within the microcosm of the gazillion ads that have been run on Facebook. I have like one molecule of experience in the whole thing. But for whatever reason, that $5 just seems to work pretty damn good. And when you start out at a higher budget, even though it's only $20, usually the first couple days are kind of crappy. But I would, whatever you're comfortable stomaching, I would say 3x the cost of the program, especially if it's an input product. I wouldn't kill it until I spent $60 and didn't get a sale. And if I got a sale, I'd spend like another, 40 to see if I could start getting a little bit more action on there. Maybe even another 60, depending on the tolerance to risk.
Oh yeah, I'm happy to do it. That's a good idea. So let it run longer and see if they can get it sorted out.
At lower budgets. Yeah, and just make sure the damn tracking's right. So that's a huge part of this equation is actually having the tracking be correct. I like Hyros, I like AnyTrack.io. Those are both. We tried to, my partner and I tried to build ROAS.org, and we got it almost perfect, but it wasn't. It's like, well, I'm not going to sell it if it's not perfect because it's too much responsibility. I don't want to be giving people bad data with their damn money. But AnyTrack.io is insultingly inexpensive. I never looked at it because it was so inexpensive. I thought it wouldn't be any good. I'm testing it now. It's working okay, so it might be worth a test for accurate data.
Okay, that's great. So just to recap it, so basically each audience, 12 days at 5 a day before you make it. Okay.
I would do that. Yeah. And it's, I test a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, what'll end up going on is you'll test a shitload of them, but then you'll have, you'll be doing two things. You'll be building lookalike audiences and retargeting fixes regardless. But you'll find a handful of pretty good audiences that you can be working for a long time.
That's great. Thank you.
How many millions of emails am I going to get if I start to order and then leave?
You will get a 5 email abandoned cart sequence if you do that. And then after that, you're put on my general list, which I periodically mail. But then when I'm actually doing a sale, because I have a full lineage course that's hundreds of hours. And so I sell that as a subscription. So you'll periodically get one of those fun. I sort of model you. I just don't send as many emails yet because I'm on Kajabi and I just haven't built that out. So I sort of model your email campaigns.
So follow-up can totally change the game for everything, So that ignore everything I said and fix that first.
Right.
Because then, dude, they got to be getting emails, 2-3 of them a day, maybe take a break for 2 days, and then they're in the next thing like forever. And if they don't open it quick in 30 days, now they're way less frequent. But over the course of that 30 days, I'd just be hitting offers all the time.
Okay. Great.
Yeah, that's the one thing. It's so classic, man. I should have asked this at the beginning. Like, what are you doing with the leads?
So like even in email a day is not enough. You would be doing 2 or 3 a day.
Yeah, and I'd segment them too. So let's say you have another. Let's say you only have this thing. I'm going to assume there's upsells or whatever.
So I have a bunch. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would try this with a cart abandon. I put a deadline on that cart abandon.
Mhm.
And it would be like a 4-hour cart abandon. So if this were mine and you're like, okay, Frankie, like, see what you can do. I wouldn't mess with any of the copy. I like that, by the way. I'd put a 5-hour timer on this thing. When the timer expires, the whole page would either expire or the price would double. And so that would be made known in the sales copy. Everybody who starts to order but doesn't, they would be in a deadline sequence where they got, 6 emails or so over the course of 5 hours saying, hey, this price is going to double, go get it. And if they still haven't purchased, then I would start wrapping other things around the offer. Like, okay, now you can get this thing, this water bottle as a bonus when you invest in the Tai Chi course, go here to get it. And now that's on the deadline sequence for, let's say, 48 hours or whatever. And I come up with as many angles to do that as possible. And then I would start playing with pricing. And by the way, every time that expired, it really would expire. So each new version of this is on a new web page.
Mhm.
So it's like, I would do the false scarcity thing. I'd use deadline funnel for it. And then I'd start messing around with pricing, like try it free or try it for $1 for 7 days and then pay. If you like it and things like that. And that's just with this one $29 thing.
Great. Yeah, that's fantastic. Thank you.
Nice. Yeah, good question. And Frank, that was super valuable. It's awesome.
All
right, cool.
Damn it. Is they never, the person going to this page, most of them ain't gonna do what you want them to do. So it's like, if we know that and accept it psychologically, like, okay, of course they're not. They're gonna enter their email address maybe, but 80% of the ones who start to check out won't. If we accept that, it's like, okay, let's just build a whole lot of stuff to mitigate against it. And that's the relentless barrage of emails, which to us seems like a relentless barrage of emails because we're sending them. But to the consumer, they're like, yeah, whatever. I got
But,
5 million emails today.
Your suggestion of raising the price is good because it was 17 and I just one day, I don't know why, I'd be like, well, would it sell at 29? I raised it and it didn't affect conversions at all.
Yeah, and so the higher price point is the reason they want to order now. It gives you legitimacy to your deadline. So you don't order before this deadline, it redirects into a page where it's going to be double the price or whatever. And now all of your deadline copy for your cart abandon has a better reason why to.
Great, thank you.
That'll show them.
Nice. Frank, Bill Hershey asks, it's funny, I feel like I should know the answer. So do you need a Facebook page to run Facebook ads? I'm seeing conflicting answers, or can you do it from a personal profile? I'm conflicted because I used to only have a personal profile back in the day and run, but I feel like everything I've done over the last several years has been with having a Facebook page related to it. So do you have an easy answer for that, Frank?
Dude, I think you have to have an actual Facebook page to run ads. I'm 99% sure.
I think they should.
So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I thought, but I'm like, maybe
Like a business account. Yeah.
Ethan said, I have a bit of a broad question for you. How do you think about dividing budget between Facebook and YouTube? Do you always start with Facebook? Do you find comparable results generally? Frank, I'll let you answer most of that. I mean, I'll just say though that on the comparable results side, my answer to that would be like no, because even now the guys I talked about earlier who are spending a couple $100,000 a day on lead gen are mostly on YouTube. And it's not that Facebook doesn't work for them, but YouTube works better. But I've seen it the other way around too. And also in the health space for me, having somewhere I can speak to a lot, like, like it's not, I don't know. I think they're comparable. They're different animals. They can both be complementary and you can do great with both, but I wouldn't say that they're like comparable results. I think they're quite different. But I know, Frank, you obviously you do both and you like YouTube a lot. So I'd love to hear your take as well.
I do like YouTube a lot, but I haven't messed with them in a while because I just get so, and I have like something called over-focused ADD, so I'll like go down this freaking rabbit hole. So right now I'm in a hardcore Facebook analytics and slice and dice a million audiences, or one audience is a million different ways, type of thing. So there isn't really a correct answer to the question. It's like whatever one works well. It's like, should I do a VSL or a long form sales letter? And the answer is whichever one works better and whichever one you can do better. For me, I can do better at Facebook ads because I don't have to shoot as much video, and it's a faster feedback for me. And Facebook works really well for low ticket stuff, where YouTube is a little bit harder to make it work. And I like to get that big volume of customers. I've made YouTube work and had really good success with it, with a $47 live challenge that would then sell people into a $397 a month thing. Worked so well, I stopped doing it. So it works great, and it was awesome. But I don't think there's an accurate, is one better than the other answer. And I should totally be running. I mean, the fact I'm not doing retargeting on YouTube and Google Display right now is just embarrassing.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot. That's the beauty of it. I always go back to like, even for having worked with like companies that are like, 9 figures a year, like big companies and stuff. And then you're like, are you guys doing this? And they're like, oh no, like we should be. So I think that's one funny thing that people make the mistake of. They think they look at like even very like established people or big companies, and like you sort of assume they've got it dialed in and they're doing everything. And it's like they're not. They're usually just doing some things really well. And depending on the vertical they're in and things like that, really well can be a couple $1 million a year of like a nice profit margin. It could be 9 figures a year. But it makes you feel better, Frank. You're not alone. It's like,
yeah, I should be running. Well, I need to fix the damn webinar campaign, the automated webinar campaign for my email course, because it doesn't convert well. It's only because I get, I follow up with people 8 billion times. Does it actually make money? But if I can make that thing convert faster, I'll put it on YouTube for sure.
Yeah,
it would probably help if I didn't tell them in the recorded webinar, like, hi, it's June 9th and the class starts on June 15th. That might make the conversion go higher. I don't know.
I feel like I'm gonna start messing with more YouTube. Well, that, or I'm just gonna hire, like, I don't know. I feel like I should just hire somebody to do it. It's so hard though when you hire people and you're like a good copywriter and you're like, they don't care as much as you. And like, but there's a bandwidth issue on it. Like you do most of your own stuff, which I love because then you're like very knowledgeable about it. But
I really like it though. So like, the reason I do it is because I like doing it. I'm a weirdo. You know what I mean? I'm an introvert. I like building little machines. I like getting a refresh. I like being analytical and stuff as well as creative. If you don't like doing it, then hire somebody. But for me, it's like, shit, it's really worth knowing how to do, because like not a lot of people know how to do it, even if they say they do. You don't. So learn it, 'cause it's not really that hard. It's you can't unlearn it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I guess the problem for me is like where I'm like, I like it too, but the actual bandwidth, right? So in my head, I'm like, I like it, so I'll just spend some nights doing this and blah blah blah. But it's like in reality, I won't. I don't know. Not to make this a therapy session for me. It's just hard. There's no right answer. But I do like it. But I like, you get me inspired as I'm watching you do your magic.
Yeah, the big takeaway should be like, if this weird son of a bitch can do this, then surely, like Kern's over here with 3 sentences. Like it's gotta be able. I gotta be able to figure this out.
Yeah, no, for sure. Bill said, is it necessary to diversify your ad campaigns if you have one that's already really working? And he said ad channels, I should say. I mean,
it's
so
a really good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, me not doing it's stupid. I can tell you right now, I'm making a very bad mistake by not putting more focus on other channels. It's just like, I also making a very bad mistake by not doing morning cardio. You know, it's one of those things that you know you should be doing it. It's obvious you should be doing it. You just don't do it. And there's no excuse for it for me. So it's like a do as say, not as do type of situation.
I would say that my caveat though is make sure that you really do have it working, really working on one channel. Cause like I see people, they're just sort of dabbling with several channels, and then like it's like get one dialed in, then once one's dialed in, moving to other channels is really solid. Versus like where people sometimes like jump around. I mean, you know, the CBD thing I'm partnered in, where they're like, they gave me equity with already like, you know, almost like $1 million in debt on it, because they kept trying to do, instead of just focusing on, they had like one offer that worked and was like compliant, documentary style, like VSL, like cool, making money. And then they're like, oh, let's go spend all this money to make all these other VSLs and these other offers, and let's try it over here. And I'm like, oh my God, right? So then by the time I'm involved in it, I feel like I'm, you know, I'm trying to help these guys, but it's like, fuck, if you guys had just focused on one thing that was already working and scaled it, and then go to the next thing. So that's also an offers, but it's the same thing whether it's offers or, you know, ad channels or whatever it is. It's like, make sure it really is dialed in first and then move to others versus having shiny object syndrome. So that's my caveat to that.
I concur.
Hey, so look at this really nice summary from Malcolm.
Sir?
Look at you in the chat here. Look at that. Jesus.
That's what this Tai Chi copy.
Yeah.
I want to know what the benefit of the 8 complete sets of moves are. I wonder if that would help. But then, like, I'm over here saying this, and then my dumbass has a sales page that just says get 4 courses for $4 with no statement of benefit of what the 4 courses are going to do for you until you read the body copy. So it's classic, you know. I'm like, you should probably put some benefits and promises in that headline. And I'm like, wait a minute, I don't have one in mind. But still, your kids shouldn't be smoking that pot and listening to that rock music. Same thing.
Michael said, you mentioned for follow-up after 4-hour countdown that doubles in price, offer expires, put them in another countdown sequence wrapped with a bonus. Do you direct them to the double price with bonus for the countdown sequence?
Yeah, so if they're in, like, this makes it easier for me anyway. We'll eliminate the pizza. Now we're healthy. Now we're paleo. And, see here, vodka is a vegetable, by the way, and amphetamines are vitamins. I have yet to find a doctor who agrees with that statement, which is why I don't go to the doctor. All right, so they abandon cart. This is what AC stands for, right? So they go, they don't buy. Now they're in countdown sequence. This is like, hey, you better buy or else it's going to double in price. If they click it after, let's say this is 5 hours. They click this thing at hour number 6, and they haven't bought it, and they click it at hour number 6. They're going to be redirected to the page that's double in price. Now, what we have the right to do, because it's your business, you do whatever you want to, as long as you don't say, I'm never offering this thing ever again at this price. Instead, you say, like, this page will expire and the price on this page will double. We can go back now, and if they haven't purchased, so, we have a decision diamond here in our process map. Did they buy? Yeah. And if they haven't purchased, we can create a completely different campaign with another way of offering the very same thing. In this case, it could be new bonus, and it could be at that same original price. And your email copy would be like, hey, you know what? I've decided just for fun that I'm going to give away this water bottle to everybody who enrolls in the Tai Chi course today. And I've also decided to still give you access to the lower price point, but this expires in X days or X hours or whatever. And the only trick is that, this would be a separate web page, of course. And after the timer hits 0, that web page expires and redirects to the double price or to the page expired or whatever you want it to do. And you can do like 1 million of these if you want to. I do it every weekend. I So if you're on my list, you probably are really tired of hearing about the evergreen email machine. And if you're on my list, like just go and look for emails from me, and you'll be like, this dude is sending the same freaking campaign every weekend. And like right now is, class starts on Monday for the evergreen email thing. And at 6 o'clock, the webpage will expire. And if they didn't go to the 397 one, they're hitting the one where it's a $427 price point. And at 6 o'clock today, they'll see a page expired. And then next weekend, I may or may not open it up. I really have it by list for like 7 weekends in a row with it. So I might relax on that. But dude, it brought in, I just had this pulled up. So I was like, this can't be true. Let's see. Look at this. This is today. This is why I advocate so much email, by the way. We'll just wait 2,000 years for this to work here. Come on, 26K. I mean, it's not a gazillion dollars, but dude, it's 26,000 more than I would have had if I hadn't reopened up that same campaign for the weekend that I've sent 1 billion times already. So that stuff works.
It does work. Cool. I don't know. I feel like we're crushing it. Any final questions before we wrap up here? Like, I've been enjoying this so much, and I feel like I'm always like, oh, this one will be faster. But then I'm like, it's not, but it's good. I want to over deliver. We said from the beginning. So hopefully y'all been getting value from these trainings and everything we've shared. I don't know, Frank.
Not so much value that you won't join our triple diamond titanium.
Oh yeah, it's the part
crusted platinum mastermind.
Yeah. You guys are. Hope you're all excited about your credit cards for the $1,000,000,000
upgrading to unicorn level. I've always wanted to have like a mastermind where I didn't have to go, but like at least pitch one that had the dumbest name ever. Like every precious metal and gemstone combination, and that would be the name, because you got platinum, gold, titanium,
right,
all that kind of stuff, and then diamond and shit. So diamond encrusted platinum, titanium, gold filled Fabergé egg mastermind.
Yeah, well, there's a unicorn one, Liz. There's a unicorn group or unicorn club or something. It's like female. Yeah, so a high like powered female one. That's like what's her face? The founder of like Hint Water is in it, and like I think JJ Virgin's in it, and like other people like that. So it's like the Unicorn Club or something like that. So she might be in Bay Bath or too, but Shankar, it's a great program. Really built on Frank's other FBI training with the retargeting and scaling and Stefan's ad research. Well, thanks, Sean. Frank, after every call, Frank DMs me. He's like, so do they hate it? Does everyone hate us? Do they all want refunds? And I'm like, no, Frank, they don't.
Not yet.
Not yet.
I always assume everyone's mad. I actually have brain damage, so I went and got a test done, and I scored this is true, by the way. I scored the lowest in the history of the test. This was a Daniel Amen's thing. So I went and got a SPECT scan, and he was like, this is the lowest sociability score. And I can't remember the name of it score, but like basically I see humans and perceive all of them as wanting to kill me. He was like, I've never seen this ever. Period. I was like,
God.
Well, I have an excuse now.
It tracks. It tracks. It doesn't not track. But no one here wants to kill you. You're safe. You're safe.
I don't believe it.
All right. Yeah. We're
That's why
going
I'm
to talk
staying
about you. Yeah. Stay bunker down. All right, cool. Well, I'll get the replay sent out to everybody, as always. And you guys, thanks so much for spending this time with us. Keep us posted on your success. Frank, thanks for doing this with me. It was really fun. I'm glad we got to do a JV together and teach and share. And hopefully maybe I'll even talk you into another one in the future. Who knows? No promises, but we'll see.
As long as we can make everybody mad.
Yeah, we did too good with this one. So let's definitely need to under-deliver next time.
Definitely.
Definitely. That's the secret. But seriously, everybody, yeah, thank you all. Really appreciate you. And everyone have a great day. And Frank, thanks, man. Any final words, Frank?
No, please, y'all send out more emails. I didn't make a big enough deal out of that, I don't think, but that can be the make or break for your campaign. Is the amount of follow-up you send out. Like I have yet to ever, period, end story, work with any client in any vertical that sends out enough follow-up. Like even now, I'm playing phone tag with Tony Robbins' company. Like, will you help us with our emails and watching their countdown thing for the damn challenge they just did? And I'm texting. I'm like, I better see a thing that says last call. I better see a thing that says final note. I haven't even taken a check, and I'm still like pissed. Like, you're not sending enough freaking email. Nobody does it. So that, please, that'll help so much with everything. You'll just do a lot more follow up. No one's going to freak out. You send them an email, and if they do, just unsubscribe for them.
Theo did say, do you include text messaging in the follow-up? I mean, you should, like, frankly, I don't know. Like, I don't, but like, I was just, even at the Grant Cardone thing, all these like big hitters who crush it with stuff, and they're like talking about all the SMS stuff they do. And I'm like, I'm a loser. I'm a fool.
No, dude, you're smart. Like
Well, it scares me. That's why I have one of the reasons. Yeah.
I remember working with him. I'm like, man, I'm not going to say anything, but
Yeah.
I was concerned for them about the SMS thing. Not they're doing anything wrong, in my opinion. It's just so freaking litigious, and there's so many little plaintiffs' attorneys out there, and that's all they do is they just try to find someone that got an unsolicited text messages, quote unquote, and now they, class action. It's horrible. They tried to do it to ClickFunnels. Some knucklehead did, and they won it. It didn't end up making it, but Russell was like, dude, good God, some guy got a notification via SMS that his account, that he needed to update the billing, and they tried to class action on it, and they didn't make it because he was compliant, but they tried, so you're going to do SMS, it's worth doing, but just be compliant.
Cuidado. Good point. Yeah, the fines are crazy too for violations on the SMS stuff. It's like, I forget what it is, but some insane amount, like, for every message sent, like it's some. But it's basically, if you really got hit with that, you're out of business. If you couldn't like settle. So it's pretty sketchy. But all right, everybody, thank you so much. We love all of you. And look forward to everyone hearing about your success. Keep us posted, and we'll talk soon, everybody. Thank you.
Thanks, homies. Bye, y'all.
Thanks, guys. Thank you. Bye.